Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother and Dad. Love, Ruth, John, Mark, Jan, Patricia, and Peter. 1982, Part 173. Sheraton British Colonial Hotel, Number 1 Bay Street, Nassau, Bahamas. January 28, 1982. Dearest Mother, John's mother took the picture of you four at Duke University with Peter that you sent Patty. So could you get another one for Patty? She said it was the only memento she had of the trip. I was so very glad to receive your letter today. I've really been wondering about your kidney problem. It's been so long since we've heard from you. We've been home 2 weeks, and a letter waiting then. I was beginning to think we should phone you. Would you like us to do that more often? It's wonderful that Bud calls you every evening, so very, very reassuring that someone is there. I'll mail, or John will mail, a letter to Norma, but you shouldn't worry about the 35-cent stamp. Phone her yourself. I'm so glad that your home is comfortable for you in the cold weather. So good that you got it fixed up so nicely. The temperature on what would have been Helen Lacey's party January 17th was 17 below zero. So Helen's drivers felt they didn't want to drive, so we postponed it a week until January 24th. We went to the symphony anyway with Carly and Dick Donaldson and Char McQuilkin and her date. And Carly had us for dinner afterwards. We went down to the Duff's wedding on Saturday the 23rd. Their eldest son, Mike, was married. They had been living together for years, but now expecting a baby in June. They had a lovely reception at their Turkey Foot Island Club. 47 degrees that day. Then the next day, Sunday the 23rd, we had 31 folks here for dinner. Sit down. I cooked a turkey, and we had a ham, mushroom pies, rolls, and vegetables. Char brought a salad, cake, and ice cream. It was a big undertaking, and I was on my feet for 15 hours straight. 8 o'clock a.m. to put in the turkey until 11 o'clock p.m., washing dishes, the sterling and cups. Helen, John's mother, Carol and Dave Wiesenhauer, Barb and Bill Smith, Marge from Maine, a professor of psychology at Oberlin and dean of students, and Audrey and her husband and all of Helen's friends. As I mentioned, I wish I could do it for you. Helen's party cost almost $200. I had lovely pink flowers and tablecloth. I played bridge yesterday in our duplicate bridge club with Carly Donaldson, Lucy Rodine, the wife of the superintendent of schools, and I was second high. Finally, someone said I was a good bridge player. During the year, I began low, then we had 4 firsts and 4 seconds in November. Then before Christmas, we all tied for first. And yesterday, I got second high, so I'm improving. We are having church bridge here Sunday afternoon and going to Carly Donaldson's for dinner Saturday evening. I'm planning to go painting today. It's 40 degrees today. Haven't been since we got home. Getting ready for Helen's dinner party. Patty phoned and we plan to visit her in New York, maybe next weekend, and go to a play. She got 2 A's in chemistry and a B+ in physics. Peter also got 2 A's and a B+. She is working for a doctor, a psychiatrist doing a research project. Still thinking of medical school, but it's a long road. We are going to a big formal party, Scheherazade, February 20th. And leave for Marco Island, Florida, February 27th, 4 weeks from now. Lots to do as I'm having my art show on April 4th, Palm Sunday weekend, and we don't get back until March 22nd. So we'll have to get everything ready, invitations out before we leave, and the paintings ready. Have to have new ones, not the same ones as last year. We had the heat turned down while we were away, but the bill was $200 anyway. Last year it was $237. I'm writing to Aunt Norma. Aunt Nell died. John Zook's wife was in a nursing home and down to 50 pounds. Patty is coming to the Bahamas in March. Mark and Jan want to come, but we are concerned. he goes to the hospital for a week in February and is up to 44 units of insulin. Have never heard from Janet. I'm glad she writes to you. We certainly hope your kidneys respond to the treatment. I love you, Ruth. The Adams, 2 East 86th Street at 5th Avenue, New York, New York, 10028. February 10th, 1982. Dearest Mother and Dad, it was good to hear from you. Certainly wondering how you are and do hope you get a good report from the doctor. How do you feel? I feel so badly we let you sit through that football game at Duke University and your side went numb. John's mother has asked about that. I wonder if it tied in with your kidney problem or being so cold at Janet's or wearing a skirt. I'm glad Bud is in his beloved Hawaii in February. I'm so sorry you've had such a bad winter. We have too, everywhere. We had another great weekend in New York with Patricia. We went to the Metropolitan and Guggenheim museums again and to the Cloisters, a medieval monastery recreated. We went to Sardi's for dinner and the Sophisticated Lady musical. We took a client and wife to dinner and to their lovely apartment with a gorgeous view, a beautiful Irish wife. It was great to see Patty, her apartment, her life, so busy and happy and so many friends calling. She's trying to get ready to take her medical entry exams and also thinking of volunteering in a hospital. She already works for a British psychiatrist. Mark goes into the hospital for a week in February. I went to a painting class in Oberlin Tuesday and with Fred Leach on Wednesday. A friend whose son burned in a fire 5 years ago is taking us to dinner Friday. They lived behind us in Bay Village and their other son was Mark's friend. Saturday bridge. A big formal dinner next Saturday and back down to the sun. Marco Island, Florida, February 27th. Lots to do. Getting my paintings ready for my art show April 4th, I think. Shar just called me about it. It's so beautiful here with all the snow and sunlight, but so cold. I'm so glad that you came to the Bahamas with us last year. The soldiers we met were on Norman's Key trying to stop the drug smuggling. The soldiers had been to our island to look for Robert Vesco earlier. All a sham anyway, I suspect. It's so beautiful down there and warm. Maybe Janet didn't like us bringing you down here and cutting your visit short there. If you do come in May, you'll have to find out from her how much time she wants you to spend with her. How nice to be so wanted. We love to have you here too and visit Peter for graduation. Hope you feel well enough. Wish you could have the time to visit Patty in New York too and see some of the sights there. I want to go back the end of April to see the American Watercolor Society show. Think spring. God bless. Love, Ruth. Marriott's Marco Beach Resort, Marco Island, Florida, 33937. March 3rd, 1982. Dearest Mother and Dad, we're in another beautiful spot. I'm out on the balcony overlooking a lovely hexagon pool and beautiful white sand beach and Gulf waters. A super spot. We flew down to Miami Saturday and on Marco Airlines here. However, we could have flown to Fort Myers and then to Naples, which is not too far. I've been looking at condominiums in case Patty wants to come down, but thinks she's going to Puerto Rico. Hope she does that as it's more of a different experience for her. I really hated to give up our tickets for the Bahamas, but John has to go back to the office. Mark goes into the hospital. Peter is getting ready to graduate from Duke University, so lots of work, and Patty doesn't get a break for another week. And I guess I should work on my paintings for my art show, April 2nd to the 8th. I love our island so much that I just hate the idea that I can't go down. However, it's too hard to go alone without John. I've been having lovely walks on the beach and drives around, sunning, shelling, and plan to go swimming. Lots of fine dining and cocktail parties. I finally got myself a $500 ultra suede suit. John said he was glad that I got myself something nice. What a nice reaction. I should have got some years ago. I've been on the verge several times. Most of the gals here have one for each evening or day. John's mother, and I presume Carol, was extremely upset over Peter's letter and wrote him a very strong letter denouncing some of his ideas. Communist. John also wrote to him a strong letter. She was quite upset over the visit to Duke and his way of living. She feels there's a critical turning point in life when some people need guidance and strong direction. She thinks Peter is going in the wrong one. I still appreciate you asking Peter to stop smoking marijuana. I love you. I wish you could share the sun and surf. Love, Ruth. P.S. Hope you plan to stay at least 2 weeks in May with us. May 4 to 5 to May 19 to 20, John's birthday. Marriott's Marco Beach Resort, Marco Island, Florida, 33937, March 22nd, 1982. Dearest Mother and Dad, I was so very glad to receive your letter today. I had begun to wonder if something was wrong, and I was thinking of phoning again. We had telephoned you before we left for Florida and sent you a pretty card from there. I wrote Bud a letter since he'd written a letter from Hawaii. I thought that he would share it with you since you say he usually reads my letters to you. We've been back 2 weeks and no word from you until today. Hope you stay well for Peter's graduation. It would be nice if you could stay long enough to go to New York with me to see Patty in her office. I plan to spend 2 weeks here at least. Well, if we'd gone to the Bahamas, we'd just be getting back today. It was lovely in Florida, and we had a great time. I almost rented a condominium, $600 a week, $1,100 for 2 weeks so Patty could. Hotel bill $1,300 for the 1 week plus meals. Come down, but she felt she couldn't afford it. However, she flew to Boston and visited Mark and a few friends. Mark goes into the hospital this week. Peter went down to Miami, Florida as we were coming back. He hitchhiked to Miami. He's become a Marxist and seems to be heading for the revolution in Central America after graduation. He's back at Duke now and taking $300 and getting his writings printed up. Patty is so concerned about both of her brothers. I told her both John and I were concerned about our brothers at this stage of their lives too, our 20s. I hated to come back to the cold weather. However, we've been very busy. I've been getting 50 paintings painted and framed for my art show and sent out 125 invitations. Patty is flying home for it. Carly and Dick Donaldson took us to the opera Carmen, also with another couple friend of ours, the Norrises, who is also vice president of Standard Oil Corporation. There was a reception after this Ohio people at the Palace. John has a case representing a law firm suing Ohio. The city is passing a resolution making the downtown area a blighted area to make way for a Standard Oil to build a huge new building right by Public Square, and we are challenging it. I made a suggestion to John. It's going to be on TV tonight. We also went to the new members' dinner and dance at the yacht club with the Donaldsons and the Norrises. The Norrises' son was killed 1.5 years ago in a car accident. We saw the On Golden Pond movie, so good, reminded me of Carly's folks. Also saw Chariots of Fire, you should see it too. We went to hear the Cincinnati Chorus last night with Shar McQuilkin, almost like a Broadway musical. Mrs. Nielsen was at church with Nan Gregory and asked about you. We went to brunch at the yacht club with Nan Gregory and her mother and family and some other friends after church yesterday. We're going to a dinner party at the Duff Saturday, and I have a bridge luncheon Wednesday. I have a physical with the doctor Thursday, although a friend invited me for lunch that day at the yacht club. I'm going to a luncheon Friday at the Sight Center. I've been mostly painting and framing. Shar took pictures of my pictures, so we'll get copies for you. It's interesting you would rather have a letter, I think, than a phone call, and Patty would rather get a phone call than a letter. She feels neglected if we don't phone, and you feel it if we don't write. I really miss going to the Bahamas this spring, even though we're very busy here. My crocuses are blooming and the daffodils are coming. Mrs. Nilsson has lost a lot of weight and really looks much better. She said she wished Sven, her husband, could see her now. She has diabetes controlled by diet and pill. I'm glad you wrote to Peter. Thank you. We had a gorgeous time in Florida, Marco Island, lovely swimming pool, lovely beach, beautiful buffets and parties. We love you, Ruth. P.S. The article about diabetes was and is interesting. When Pamela died, her Girl Scout leader, head nurse at the hospital here, predicted there would be so much more diabetes because of our U.S. sugar diet. Mark's diet has been very close to a diabetic diet, and he had almost eliminated sugar. However, it may have been the accumulation of the past. We still think that it's an inherited tendency, a gene plus the virus that Pam and Mark had before Pam died. I think it hit Pamela more quickly and took longer in Mark. However, we have much to learn about it, and that's why juvenile diabetes research is so important. Bud mentioned that the 2-year-old child of the lady who interviewed you has diabetes. What is the theory there? I give 10% of my painting money to juvenile diabetes research. The luncheon that I wanted you to stay for was juvenile diabetes. Naturally, we are very concerned about Mark. Love, Ruth. Now we have one comment based on the original publication. That's from my father, John S. Ray. Dear editor, what a great picture of Peter in the upper right of the first page of pictures in SFMC number 87. What a great picture of Patricia in her confirmation dress in the lower right on the second page. Thank you. St. John the Divine, largest cathedral in the world. I remember that magnificent edifice when we visited Patricia in New York City. Patricia was so busy. Helen Lacey's party at our home in January 1981. 31 human beings here for a sit-down dinner. What a tremendous undertaking for Ed. Mark having a lot of trouble with his diabetes. So glad that he is doing such a good job of dealing with it now. Peter heading off to Central America for the Communist Revolution. I'm so glad that never happened. Keep up the good work. Love, Dad. John S. Ray, Rocky River, Ohio. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.